Nestled in the heart of New York City was a high-end jewelry store renowned for catering to the world's elite. Its name, Lustre Royale, was synonymous with luxury and exclusivity. The store was known not only for its dazzling collections but also for its strict unspoken rule: only the visibly wealthy and influential were treated with respect. The owner, Mr. Charles Whitmore, a man with an inflated ego and a taste for arrogance, prided himself on his ability to read people at a glance. On a quiet Tuesday afternoon, the store's heavy glass doors swung open to reveal a woman dressed in a casual oversized hoodie, ripped jeans, and sneakers. Her face was partially obscured by large sunglasses, and her hair was tied back in a loose bun. The store clerk, stationed behind the counter, glanced up and immediately frowned. She whispered to Mr. Whitmore, "Do we even let her in?" Mr. Whitmore gave the woman a quick once-over, noticing her lack of designer logos or visible wealth. "Absolutely not our clientele," he sneered. "I'll handle it." Striding over with a forced smile, Whitmore intercepted the woman before she could even approach the showcase. "Miss," he began, his tone dripping with condescension, "perhaps you've mistaken this place for somewhere more affordable." The woman tilted her head slightly, her lips forming a small smirk. "I'm pretty sure I'm in the right place," she replied calmly. Whitmore raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. "We cater to serious buyers only. If you're just here to browse, I suggest trying one of those chain stores down the street." The clerk chuckled from behind the counter, clearly enjoying the exchange. Whitmore, emboldened by his perceived power, continued, "Frankly, we don't entertain window shoppers, or how should I put this, people who can't afford our products." The woman's smirk faded. "Is that so?" she asked, her voice now carrying an edge of steel. "Indeed," Whitmore replied. "I don't think this is the kind of place for you." He gestured toward the door, silently urging her to leave. For a moment, the woman stood there, her gaze unflinching. Then, without another word, she turned on her heel and walked out, the store's staff chuckling in her wake. Whitmore, convinced he had done the right thing, dismissed her as another nobody trying to live above her means. What neither Whitmore nor his staff realized was that the woman they had just insulted was none other than Rihanna, global superstar, fashion icon, and business mogul. What came next would shake Lustre Royale to its core and leave the world buzzing. As the heavy glass doors of Lustre Royale closed behind her, Rihanna paused on the bustling New York sidewalk. The sharp autumn wind brushed against her face, but it was nothing compared to the icy sting left by Charles Whitmore's words. For a moment, she stood frozen, her hands tucked deep into her hoodie pockets, her heart pounding not with anger but with something far heavier. Humiliation. It wasn't the first time she'd been judged unfairly. Growing up in Barbados, Rihanna had faced her share of skepticism, doubt, and dismissive glances. But those experiences were long buried under layers of success, fame, and wealth. She had walked red carpets draped in diamonds worth more than most people's homes. She had sat front row at fashion weeks in Paris, Milan, and New York. Yet, in that brief moment inside Lustre Royale, she wasn't Rihanna the billionaire entrepreneur, nor Rihanna the global icon. She was just a girl being told she wasn't good enough. As a tear threatened to escape behind her oversized sunglasses, her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a message from Hassan, her longtime confidant and one of the few people who had seen both the heights of her success and the depths of her insecurities. "Hassan, hey, Where are you? We're waiting for you at the penthouse. You okay? She hesitated before typing back. Rihanna, yeah, I'm good. Just needed a moment. Be there soon. The truth was, she wasn't okay. Those words, perhaps you've mistaken this place for somewhere more affordable, kept replaying in her mind. How could a stranger reduce her, strip her down to nothing more than an assumption? How could someone make her feel so invisible? She decided to walk instead of calling for her car. The cool air was sharp but refreshing, and the rhythmic tapping of her sneakers against the pavement felt grounding. As she passed window displays of other luxury boutiques, her reflection stared back at her hoodie, jeans, sneakers. Was this really all it took for someone to dismiss her worth? But it wasn't about the clothes. It wasn't even about the diamonds. It was about respect. Later that evening, Rihanna arrived at the penthouse suite where her team and close friends were gathered. The floor-to-ceiling windows offered a breathtaking view of the glittering New York skyline, but her mood was still clouded by the earlier encounter. Hassan noticed immediately. "Rih. What happened?" he asked softly, handing her a glass of water as she settled onto the plush leather couch. She hesitated, her lips pressed tightly together. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she said, "I walked into a jewelry store today. Lustre Royale. And the owner, he humiliated me. Told me I didn't belong there. That I should go somewhere more affordable." A hush fell over the room. Her team exchanged glances, their faces a mixture of disbelief and anger. "What?" Hassan's voice cracked slightly, his usual calm demeanor shattered. Did he know who you were?" Rihanna shook her head. "No. And honestly, it shouldn't matter. No one deserves to be treated like that. No one." There was a long silence before Hassan spoke again, his voice firm. "You've got to go back, Rih. Not for revenge, but to remind them who you are, not just you as Rihanna, but you as a human being who deserves respect." Rihanna sighed, her gaze fixed on the twinkling lights of the city below. "I don't want revenge, Hass. But I can't let this slide. Not because I'm Rihanna, but because people like him will keep doing this to others. To people who might not have the voice or the platform to stand up for themselves." Hassan nodded slowly, a small smile playing at the corner of his lips. "Then we'll do it right. We'll make sure the world knows." That night, Rihanna lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Her mind kept drifting back to that moment in Lustre Royale, to the smug look on Charles Whitmore's face. She wasn't angry anymore, not really. She was disappointed. Disappointed in how easily people judged others based on appearances, in how shallow kindness had become in places where wealth dictated worth. She thought about her fans, millions of people who looked up to her, who saw her not just as a celebrity, but as a symbol of strength and resilience. She couldn't let them down. Somewhere deep inside her, a spark ignited. Not of revenge, but of purpose. Tomorrow, she would return to Lustre Royale. But this time, she wouldn't walk in quietly. This time, the world would be watching. In the days following Rihanna's powerful return to Lustre Royale, the world continued to buzz with conversation. News outlets, social media platforms, and fans from every corner of the globe celebrated her bravery and strength. but what truly struck a chord was the impact of her message. This wasn't just about an iconic celebrity standing up for herself, it was about a movement, a call for everyone to demand the respect they deserved, no matter who they were or where they came from. The aftermath was swift. The story didn't just end with Rihanna's public display of dignity. It ignited a wider conversation about elitism and prejudice, with many people who had faced similar experiences sharing their stories. Rihanna's simple, yet profound act of standing up for herself had given others the courage to do the same. Social media platforms were flooded with stories of people reclaiming their own power, fighting back against being marginalized, and pushing for a world where everyone had equal respect, regardless of their social status. As for Lustre Royale, it wasn't long before Charles Whitmore felt the consequences of his actions. The backlash was immediate and severe. Customers who had once frequented the store to purchase the finest jewelry now began to pull away. They weren't just boycotting a store, they were boycotting a philosophy of exclusivity and judgment. Whitmore's arrogant attitude and dismissive behavior towards Rihanna had cost him more than just business, it had cost him his reputation. The world had watched as a woman who could have easily dismissed the incident used her platform to elevate others, creating a ripple effect that changed how people saw themselves and each other. Rihanna had not only reclaimed her dignity but had redefined what it meant to stand up for others. And in doing so, she showed that true luxury is about kindness, respect, and inclusivity, not diamonds or the size of your bank account. As Rihanna sat in her penthouse that evening, watching the city lights flicker below her, she couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. This wasn't just a victory for her, it was a victory for anyone who had ever been told they didn't belong. Her words, her actions, had sparked a change. And while she wasn't one to bask in accolades, she knew this moment would forever be a defining chapter in her story. She smiled softly, her phone buzzing with messages of support. Hassan's name appeared on the screen. "Hassan, you did it. Proud of you." Rihanna replied simply. "Rihanna, we did it. Together." The story of Rihanna's return to Lustre Royale would go down in history as one of the most powerful moments of her career, not because of her celebrity, but because of her humanity. It was a reminder to us all that the greatest luxury we can offer each other is kindness, compassion, and the unwavering belief that everyone deserves respect, no matter who they are. If you've been inspired by Rihanna's bold stand for respect, don't forget to hit that like button. If you believe in the power of kindness and equality, make sure to subscribe to stay updated on stories that change the world. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below and share your own experiences or opinions on how we can all make the world a better, more respectful place. Let's keep the conversation going, and together, let's make a difference.